The Madrid Open draw dropped on April 20th, 2026, and within hours, tennis Twitter had already lost its mind. One name. That's all it took. Alexa Eala pulled a qualifier in the first round. On the surface? Perfect. She's sitting at number 44. She hasn't won a single clay match in 7 straight attempts, and the draw handed her what looked like the easiest possible opener. Exactly what she needed. Except nobody checked who was hiding inside that qualifying bracket. Karolína Plíšková, former world number 1, Wimbledon finalist. A woman who spent the last year in surgery, in silence, wondering if professional tennis was done with her, and then walked back onto a court ranked 258th in the world and absolutely destroyed the defending champion. 6-1, 6-3, 8 breaks, like she'd never left. That's not a qualifier. That's a trap with a name badge. And if she wins 2 more matches, she's standing across the net from Eala on Madrid clay. Subscribe now, because this story is about to get a whole lot more complicated. Let's start with Pliskova, because if you don't know what she's been through, none of this hits the way it should. Cast your mind back to Wimbledon 2021. Center court. Pliskova serving on grass, arguably the most dangerous serving display in women's tennis that entire fortnight. Ashley Barty could barely handle it. She went 2 sets deep in a Grand Slam final at 29 years old, and the whole sport was watching. That was supposed to be her moment, her peak, her title. It wasn't. What followed was 5 years of slow collapse. Not dramatic, not sudden, just grinding, relentless attrition. Back problems, arm problems, ankle problems. Every time she clawed her way back into the conversation, something else gave out. Her ranking, once the best in the world, started drifting, then sliding, then falling off completely. By 2024, she was at number 41, still competitive, still dangerous. She won a WTA 250 title in Romania. She reached the Qatar Open semifinals. It looked genuinely like the resurrection was happening. Then her back gave out again. She pulled out before facing Swiatek. Just like that, momentum gone. Then came the US Open. She won her first round. She walked out for her second round match against Jasmine Paolini, played a handful of points, and retired. Her foot had completely given up on her. Season over. Career in question. She disappeared for the better part of a year. Ankle surgery, rehabilitation, no press, no matches, no noise. The tour kept spinning without her. New players broke through. The rankings reshuffled entirely. And Pliskova sat somewhere in Portugal, just trying to figure out if her body would ever cooperate again. When she came back, she started in Calda as a wild card. Won a match. Small moment, but the signal was enormous. The serve still had pace. The forehand still had venom. The body was holding. She moved to Asia, built up some matches. Nothing headline-grabbing, just quietly proving to herself that she still belonged. Then April 2026, Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open, ranked 258, 0 expectations. She draws Ekaterina Alexandrova, the defending champion, number 13 in the world, seeded second. She won 6-1, 6-3, 8 breaks of serve. She went on an 8-game run to open the match. By the end of that tournament, she'd jumped 63 spots in the live rankings and reached her first WTA quarterfinal in nearly a year. That is the woman who entered the Madrid qualifying bracket. She's a qualifier the same way a loaded gun sitting quietly on a table is just an object. Now let's talk about Eala, because her side of this story is just as compelling. And the contrast between where these two players stand right now makes this potential matchup genuinely fascinating. Alexa Eala turned 20 this year. She's Filipino. She grew up training at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, which means Madrid is basically a home court for her culturally and geographically. And 2025 was the year she introduced herself to the world in the most dramatic way possible. Miami Open. Wild card. She beat world number 5 Madison Keys. Then she beat world number 2 Swiatek back-to-back. she reached the semifinals. The first Filipino player in history to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal and the first to crack the top 100. The entire country was celebrating. The story was everywhere. She was 19, fearless, and suddenly one of the most exciting young players on tour. She entered 2026 with serious momentum. Fourth round in Dubai. Fourth round at Indian Wells. The ranking was climbing. A top 30 spot felt realistic, maybe even conservative. Then Karolína Plíšková happened. Miami, just weeks ago. 6-love, 6-2. One of the most one-sided losses of Eala's young career. The kind of score that doesn't just drop points, it drops confidence. Her ranking slid from a career high of 29 down to the mid-40s because the points from her 2025 Miami run expired without being defended, and then clay season started. It went badly immediately. Linz, second-round loss to Ostapenko. Stuttgart. First-round loss to Leylah Fernandez, 1-6, 4-6. 2 tournaments, 2 early exits, 0 wins on clay in 2026. Zoom out even further, and the picture gets darker. Going back through 2024, Eala has won just 3 of her 10 clay matches. Her career win rate on the surface sits at 39%. She's lost 28 of her 46 career clay matches. These are not the numbers of someone who thrives on this surface. They're the numbers of someone who genuinely, structurally struggles on it. And then there's the Czech factor. 12 career matches against Czech opponents. 0 wins, not 1. Muchova beat her twice. Noskova beat her at Indian Wells this year. A qualifier named Teresa Valentova beat her in February. Different tournaments, different stages, different forms. Same result every single time. It's not a coincidence anymore. It's a documented pattern. Every analyst covering Eala has noticed it, and Eala herself cannot possibly have failed to notice it either. So when Pliskova's name showed up in the Madrid qualifying draw, anyone tracking both players understood the implications immediately. This wasn't a soft draw. This was a minefield disguised as a free point. For anyone unfamiliar with how the WTA protected ranking system works, here's the short version. If a player misses significant time due to injury or pregnancy, they're allowed to use the ranking. They held at the time of their absence to enter tournaments. Pliskova qualifies because her ankle surgery kept her off tour for well over a year. The system allows up to 12 entries when the absence exceeds 12 months. Her actual current ranking, approximately 197, wouldn't get her anywhere. Near the main draw at a WTA 1000 event, the protected ranking does, but it places her in qualifying, not directly in the bracket. She has to win 2 matches before she even reaches the first round. If she wins those 2 matches, she becomes the qualifier that Eala faces. The draw has already mapped it out. The path is there. The collision is entirely possible. It just requires Pliskova to do exactly what she showed in Linz that she's perfectly capable of doing. Walk onto a WTA court ranked far below where she actually belongs and beat someone who looks better on paper. The stakes for Eala here go well beyond one match. She's carrying 270 ranking points from her 2025 Madrid campaign into this tournament. If she exits early, those points expire. The ranking drops further. She came into this year as a legitimate top 30 threat. Right now, she's at 44 and still sliding. Madrid isn't just an opportunity for her, it's damage control, a first-round loss. To a qualifier hurts in the rankings table. A first-round loss to Pliskova, a former world #1 mounting a comeback, does something much more damaging. The Czech curse extends to 0-13. The clay struggles drag into a 3rd straight tournament. The questions about whether Eala's game truly translates to this surface get a lot louder and a lot harder to dismiss. None of this means Eala loses. She's a top 50 player with wins over multiple top 10 opponents in the last 18 months. The left-handed spin, the power, the fearlessness that carried her through Miami 2025, that's all still there. And her Rafa Nadal Academy background means clay is not technically foreign to her, even if the results haven't reflected it yet. But Pliskova in this emotional state is a different problem entirely. She's 34 years old. She spent a year genuinely questioning whether her career was over. She is now in qualifying at a WTA 1000 event, fighting just to reach the first round, using a protected ranking. There is nothing casual or routine about her presence here. Every match she plays right now is a statement. Every win is proof, to herself, to everyone watching, that the comeback is real. Players in that headspace are dangerous in a way that's almost impossible to quantify. They've already survived something, far worse than a tennis loss. Losing a match doesn't scare them anymore. Her serve remains one of the most destructive weapons in the women's game when it's working. Her forehand can end rallies from anywhere on the court. On clay, where the ball sits up and slows down, her flat, aggressive ball striking can be disrupted by heavy topspin. But against a player who has struggled on this surface as consistently as Eala has, Pliskova's power and experience might be more than enough. The broader Madrid draw adds one final layer to all of this. This field is loaded. Aryna Sabalenka is making her 2026 clay season debut here after skipping Stuttgart. Elena Rybakina just won Stuttgart and arrives as one of the hottest players on tour. Iga Swiatek is playing her first WTA 1000 since hiring new coach Francisco Roig. Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula, Mira Andreeva, Elena Vitalieva, all in the draw. Whatever Eala faces after the first round is going to be brutal regardless of who she opens against. But none of those names is what the draw conversation has been about today. Today, it's been about a 34-year-old Czech woman with a surgically repaired ankle and a protected ranking, entering qualifying quietly, and potentially becoming the single most dangerous first-round opponent any unseeded player could have drawn at this entire tournament. Qualifying begins April 21st. By Wednesday or Thursday, Eala steps onto the Caja Magica clay for her first round. Whether Pliskova is standing on the other side of the net depends entirely on what happens in the next 48 hours. But the possibility alone, a former world number one, rebuilt and remotivated, lying in wait inside what everyone assumed was a routine opening slot. That is exactly the kind of story tennis produces when the draw computer decides to be ruthless. The wall is already there. The draw confirmed it. Eala just doesn't know yet how tall it is. If you made it this far, hit subscribe right now. Drop your prediction in the comments. Does Pliskova get through qualifying? And if she does, what happens when she steps onto that clay court opposite Eala? The next few days in Madrid are going to give us answers. Don't miss them.